It's a sad, sad week, but the show must go on, and you're already seeing the punishment. So let's get it rocking. Yeah. These are the weeks that you hate, where you might text each other and be like, "Hey, are we still doing the show?" We're still doing the show.
I was dreading this. I had a feeling prior to the season that we might have to encounter one of these type of situations, and it fortunately came a little sooner than later. So, it is what it is.
Are we getting the same? Yep.
Yeah.
We're getting the same. We have a guest coming on, so we'll start with Sped. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on? Appreciate you for joining us, man.
Yeah, part of the wrestling show with Big Mike Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. Always a good watch, man. Those two guys are great on there together, so I enjoy it every single time.
Yep.
Randy, what's up, Randy?
Evening, Randy. Thank you for joining us.
I posted that Randy's a great guy, and he tried to argue with me, which probably only makes him even a greater guy. So appreciate you, Randy. half of the alpha pools are in here.
The full alpha pool is in the building. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Yep. Thank y'all for joining. Yep. The video time. It's still a work in progress, but they're getting better. That's all I can say.
There.
The thumbnails are fine because Mike's doing the thumbnails. The video titles are getting better. Randy's been a big part. A lot of the stuff you see behind the scenes or don't see behind the scenes is stuff that Randy's trying to push us to help us get better. So
yeah.
And I assume this was about my outfit, Kat. Yeah. This is the punishment. You lose a game. This is kind of what happens. So the only thing good to come out of this past week was we got rid of that quixotic belief that we were going to go undefeated and win a national championship in the first time ever, with a new coach. So
don't let Hurt fool y'all. That's how he dresses on a normal day basis anyway. When he's not at work, this is how he dresses. So it's no.
Okay, that's not true because I also dress this way at work also. So let's not say
my bad.
So yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Randy, it is. So, Raj, we got a guest to kind of help us get through the pain today, and then we'll be able to deflect. He's got a big game coming up this weekend, so we'll be able to deflect away from it and talk about his game and move. I can get you this outfit if you want, man. So, all right, Raj, without further ado, Raj, this is a man who actually taught Jeremiah Smith how to catch. A lot of people don't know that. So,
okay.
In preparation for the game this weekend, he's been holding the Aflac duck hostage in his house. Oh, don't read that. I don't know if I was supposed to read that part, but I mean, cat's out of the bag, so that's it, right? And this weekend, he actually gets to call plays for one half of the game. Now, his only play is throw the ball to Smith, so it's not really that hard, but he does get to call plays for this weekend. So, frequent guest on here, part of the family. Trey, what's up, bro?
Hi, getting ready, big game, I got my buddy, baby Zeke with me, we ready.
Hey, that's the Zeke. That's the Zeke that the Cowboys need right now.
It is, and it's that same Zeke that got us a championship against those same Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because of the way that season unfolded. I could half the time forget that that's who y'all played the championship.
Like always remembers the Alabama game. I mean, even me. I honestly remember the Alabama game almost more than the Oregon game because it felt at that point, once we got past Bama, it's like, okay, we got this. Just don't blow.
It was that one run that Zeke had that just won't get out of my mind where he's running. I think he's kind of looking up at the scoreboard, the Jumbotron as well, and he knew he was about to score. And I'm like, thought is just a nightmare in my head.
Because we had just scored, right, to bring it close, and we thought we had a little hope, and then he busted. Now, when we were on your show, I said this, the only play I remember from that entire game was that play, and I don't remember any play from Ohio State, Oregon in the national championship. I'm sure I watched it.
Yeah,
I don't remember a single thing. So,
and shout out to Blake Sims, our quarterback that year. Blake Sims actually had a pretty good year. He had a good arm. He was pretty accurate. And unfortunately, we came up a little short in that game. But we wanted somebody else to win. He didn't want to win everything. Right?
What now? Isn't that the TJ Yeldon year where Henry's like backing him up?
Probably so, because Henry won the Heisman the following year. Man, he won the Heisman in 15.
Okay.
Probably
so.
So
What I remember specifically is me and my friends, we're all talking, and when Henry comes in, he makes a couple of good runs, and we're like, who the fuck is this big dude? Then Yoda gets back in. We're like, man, put him back in, please. We were begging for Yoda to stay because we all started like, I don't know who that big dude is, but he going to be a problem.
And I don't think Kenyon Drake, I forgot what year Kenyon Drake got there. I want to say he got there in 15 because I remember him for the national championship game in 16, of course. But they were all around there just for cycling running back at the same time.
Y'all putting them out.
Yeah.
Like water.
Yeah, the bow tie, yep. Don't give it back. Nope, not going back. So don't give back the duck. Yeah, that's yeah. Okay, that's
the duck should stay. Yeah, the duck should stay. I'm treating them nice though.
Charmaine's here for group therapy, and the first thing we do is mention more heartbreak and pain for Alabama. So
it's all right.
And I honestly don't remember it, but like I said, I think I put the whole game out of my pocket, out of my memory. So
big OJ Howard, I remember.
Yeah, he only liked to play against Clemson apparently, because I don't remember a single thing that OJ Howard ever did that was not in the game against Clemson.
He showed up the following year against Clemson, with him and Jay Coker,
Yep, and that was it.
Yep.
So unfortunately, we have to start. We got to recap.
Yeah.
And I would love to just recap everybody else. So Raj and I actually went live right after the game. So we did get to vent some. So Trey, we'll start with you with the outside view. I mean, and you text us some of us, so we know. Absolute shock, right? When you saw the result of that game?
Oh, it was definitely a shock. Honestly, it was Ohio State was playing the same time. So a lot of times will have a second game on or a third game. I didn't even have that in the multi-box because I just assumed it was over. And then suddenly y'all start texting like, we got to get this together. So, and I looked, I said, they'll get together in a second. So I looked down again later and I said, okay, this is starting to kind of get scary here. Like, what's happening here? So, yeah, it was definitely shocked because I figured y'all were just going to coast into the Tennessee game at this point. And I think everybody did. We had talked about that. After we all won our show, we said, okay, if y'all can find your way after this Georgia game, is what happened in Tennessee. We didn't even talk about Vanderbilt because we just all assumed this was a walkthrough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, Rod, you can touch on this, but I feel like the players thought the exact same thing. So go ahead, Rod.
I agree. I mean, me personally, I know I overlooked the Vanderbilt game. I was kind of looking more towards South Carolina and then obviously Tennessee. I kind of feel like some of the players felt the same way, especially coming off that really, really big high from the previous week after beating Georgia. We were on top of the world. Nobody could touch us, et cetera. Then we come up to Vanderbilt. Maybe we did underestimate them a little bit. We just started off really, really slow. And once they got the lead, it was just like we just never could climb our way back into the game. And, unfortunately, what happened. And, it is what it is. But no, we just I throughout the whole game, I just kept thinking that we were going to get some stops, take the lead, get some stops, take the lead. After the half, we got a touchdown, we got to stop, but we just never could take the lead, and it was frustrating to watch. Definitely frustrating to watch.
Yeah, like Charmaine said right there, it's kind of like what you just tried. I'm thinking, can I put this on a smaller screen? Second half and watch some other stuff to go on. Georgia Auburn was also on, and at one point, I'm not gonna lie. The Bama game got the multi-view at the bottom, and I put Georgia Auburn up, and then I would just flip it through TV games on the big TV. Boy, I was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "They're not even trying out there." Yeah. You could just tell that there was just no oomph from the team ever. They smacked us in the mouth first drive. I knew I was worried then. And then we do a pick six right afterwards, and I was like, you don't think that's insurmountable with our offense, but
that pick six was so strange because the ball was thrown and it flew in the air for almost a minute, and people were just standing there. I'm like,
it looked like
somebody go tackle him or something, but it was up in the air. Everybody just stood there. I'm like, okay, it's still a live ball. He caught it, just ran in. I'm like, but even after the pick six, I'm like, okay, we're off to a slow start. We'll get back into it, but we kind of got back into it, but never where we should have been.
Right. I agree.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just tough. It was weird. And that pass wasn't even going for a first down anyway. So it was like a terrible pass all the way around. It was a bad pass. Yeah. And that got popped up. So I don't know. It's just
Rose Heisman shot, or do y'all think he's still?
No, I think he's done. I think he's done.
I think for this week, for the following week, that decreases chances, but I think he can climb back into the race because you got to think he can have some really, really good games going forward. And if other QBs or other players or even Travis Hunter or whatever the case may be has a few bad games, then his chances will increase. But it's definitely hurting right now. And this kind of goes back to one of the questions that we had when Herb and I were with you guys on Cinco Squad was I forgot the question was, but it was like national championship or Heisman. That scenario was given. Yeah, much more likely. So maybe it's a good thing that what happened Saturday happened because now we're leaning towards the other one. So
yeah. I think, and I probably was quick to answer there. If he has a great game against Tennessee and a great game like on the road against Oklahoma, and then shows out in the Iron Bowl, he can get back.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think quarterbacks more than any other position get judged by your wins and losses. And but Heisman voters are human. And they're always going to remember the stink. I bet you most of them can't even name what his stats were from that game, except for the pick six. But they can remember Vandy winning. So that's why I would say that. So and the defense. I mean, there's been so much coming out about the defense since that game. No adjustments. Slow. Malachi Moore, God bless him. Has a meltdown. Comes out and apologizes, and then immediately after he apologized, said the signals were coming in too slow. I'm like, hey, man, can you at least let the apology marinate for a minute before you kind of go into that? Go ahead, guys.
No, I mean, I was thinking the same thing, and that was seeing him having the meltdown on the field was the most energy I've seen through our defense pretty much the entire day. So I don't know why we saved it all up for the end of the fourth quarter, but I understand his frustration, and he said what he said. So I think for Alabama, the best thing the best way to rebound is having a really, really good showing this Saturday in Tuscaloosa against South Carolina. And it can't be a close game. It can't be a 35-21 type of game. I would love to see a blowout. I would love to see
especially
that
at home.
Especially at home. Yeah, you want a double-digit, nice little blowout. But honestly, everybody in the nation's at a point in the season where it's not really about style points anymore. That's like the first couple of games of the season. Right now, everybody's just trying to get through the schedule. You're just trying to win it and move on.
Yeah. I think I will blow them out because I think it's going to be honestly, I feel bad for South Carolina because I think they're going to get all the energy from – I mean, you got a fan base that is – y'all have a very serious fan base. I mean, I heard some Fine Ball show, and people are basically ready to – I'm pretty sure DeBoer's address has been leaked already. And yeah, I heard some wild, the guy had close games in Washington. Dude only lost 3 games. And one of them was a national championship.
Yeah, but I'm not
already on his neck.
I can't say I'm surprised, though. I mean, this was something that I think any Bama fans, we expected this after a loss, regardless of whether – now, it just happens to be to this intensity because it's Vanderbilt. But if we had lost to some other team, people be saying a lot of the similar things. So what are we doing? We got to get a new coach, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we don't need a new coaching staff. We made some mistakes. We just have to rebound. So some people just got to relax. Just chill out.
They have been attacking this man's wardrobe. That
was a weird one. People are like, oh, he wore a T-shirt during the game. And I was like, nobody said anything about his wardrobe the previous 4 games that we won. Nobody said anything about that. But then when you lose, it's that T-shirt. That T-shirt wasn't out there making the plays. It was, or the lack of plays. But
the T-shirt caused relax. It's all because of the T-shirt.
Yeah. And I think you just have a couple of –
come out 3-piece suit next game.
Yep, yeah. Polo shirt. And I think you have a couple of – you just have a couple of misanthropes out there too that are just mad at the world, and they just want to take their anger out on somebody else. So it is what it is, man. It's all good. We'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is it depends on where you are that that faction. So you guys are Ohio State, and you kind of converse more in those circles, so you'll know them.
Yeah. For
us, we converse more in Alabama fans. So you're exactly right. Everyone has the crazy fans, and everybody probably thinks theirs is the craziest. But because we're down here, we're like, there's been a number of fans who've been waiting for DeBoer to fail. There's a number of fans who are waiting for Milroe to fail. There's, the one that I hate the most is the Saban this and Saban that. Like, he's gone.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like, the next guy, you can't say that Saban was the greatest coach of all time and then be mad that the next guy's not living up to it this first year. Like, none of this makes any sense. Was Saban the greatest, or was he a coach that you could surpass in the first year? Like, which one? It can only be, one or the other. And it's just, it's just getting ridiculous. And this is it. Other Bama fans, they're so.
Yep.
If you've been on Twitter lately, you see there's like a little contingent of fans that are trying to fight off all the other fans. They're like, look, if y'all want to argue that, it's fine, but I'm not. I'm not here for all this. We lost the game. Yeah, it sucks. Time to move on. And Charmaine said it earlier, it's not a typical Vanderbilt team. Outside the inexplicable loss to Georgia State, they blew a game against Missouri. You could easily be looking at a 4-1, 5-0 Vanderbilt team, which would have been unheard of. So, yeah, that's better. Does it make it sting any less? Oh, no. I mean, it hurts. Look at this outfit. This is this is not what I wanted to be wearing on my show. So, and yeah, Kat, that's what you have to do, man. It's crazy. But to her point, do you see the same thing with the Ohio State fan base? Is it, especially after losses, are y'all ready to burn down the whole? I mean, especially I guess after last year.
Oh yeah, I mean, people are gonna burn down. New Jack City reference. People were about to burn down the Carter last year. Like that was after the Michigan game. That's what it was. Yeah. Honestly, even like you said, Twitter for better or worse can sometimes be good or bad. But if we start off slow, even this season, I've seen people, oh God, put Will Howard out the game. It's like, bro, it's like it was. I think maybe 2 games ago. I think he was 8 for 8. But it wasn't like a lot of yardage, and people were like, see, this is why we need to bench him. I'm like, dude's 8 for 8 right now. What are y'all talking about? Like, y'all act like he's messing up. So we definitely got a crazy contingency ourselves here. I see it on the timeline. I've seen it around town, And I mean, same even with Bama. I guess background anybody that's watching, I actually have a lot of family that lives in Tuscaloosa, so I talk to them and I hear the stories from them. Like I've been to Tuscaloosa, not for a Bama game, but just even in the off season, I've been there in the summertime, and that's all they want to talk about is, if we had the best quarterback. I'm like, bro, it's like June, like we.
The thing about Bama fans is like, if you became a fan around 2007, 2008 when Nick Saban first got there, then your expectations are just national championship, and you haven't really experienced too many of the lows. Obviously, we didn't win a national championship all 17 years, but you're more used to winning championships. But Herb and I, we became fans in 1994, so we were there. First year we were there, we had a really good season, but then we had some bad seasons. Early 2000s, we've been through several coaching changes. We had some really, really rough seasons, so we've experienced the good and bad, and I feel like we can handle it a little bit. It still stings after a loss, but you know how to cope with it. Some people, though, they're just, if it ain't Saban, it ain't gonna work. That's their mentality.
Yeah. Right. Well, like Charmaine said, they did Saban the same way when he was first here. And then East Point, the new fans, the ones that came in when Saban got rolling, you guys don't. I mean, and there's a lot of this is the standard. Okay, but there's good and bad, like in everything. And the landscape has changed with NIL and everything. So, and this, Randy, this is exactly my point. Yeah, we lose the greatest of all time, and everybody's like, why isn't the team better? Like. And Saban didn't win the championship on his way out either. So I don't know. Just the expectations are very rare. And then Coach English coming in here, Georgia Bulldog fan. It's always funny for us we know these people in different avenues or like overseas and stuff. So it's interesting to see where they've ended up in the different teams that they've kind of ended up with. But I think he's still figuring stuff out. And like I said, the SEC is a grind. Every week you just don't get to overlook anybody. So
shout out to Coach English, man. Coach English, we knew Coach English when we lived overseas, Trey. So let's go back to the 90s.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Coach.
Yep. So this one's for you, though, Trey. Y'all can't lose to Michigan this year.
No, they should not. But Ryan Day will be coach of Toledo next season.
Yeah.
Toledo Rockets new coach Ryan Day. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Yep.
Yeah, Coach English is right. Like, in real pressure is on Day in Ohio State. This was truly championship or bust. We brought so many people back for not to have that type of mentality. Yeah. Too much money was spent for not to be that type of mentality.
Yeah. And that is not that's not like a knee-jerk after this was when we did the preview before the season, he said the exact same thing. So this isn't kind of looking back. This is like, hey, Trey's been consistent about that. But he also did predict an undefeated season. So
confidence level was high. Still consistent in that.
Yeah, so Brian, an OU fan in the chat. They got a big game this weekend. So I am using, when we do our pick segment this week, I'm using Brian's pick to pick the Texas OU game. So whatever he texts me is what the pick's gonna be. I'm not even doing any analysis.
Text you.
I don't know. He didn't think he picked Tennessee to beat them. So he's not gonna. He's not. You don't know that he's only just gonna go Oklahoma.
And kudos to Brian. Brian and I went head to head. Sorry to interrupt. Head to head in fantasy this week, and he beat me. Coming into Monday night, I was up by like 9 points, but he had Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt had a pretty good game. So Brian gave me another L. So kudos to Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Brian, because now I get a text every week from Raj on somehow that I have something to do with all his losses and that I've rigged something. And
God bless somebody.
Trey, Herb is the commissioner of our league, and I'm 0-5. I have not won a fantasy game this week. So tell me there's no conspiracy going on there.
Yeah, that sounds a little rough.
Thank you.
Trey.
McCaffrey or something? How we ended up in this position?
We'll discuss that off the air as far as my roster.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume you drafted McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp.
I didn't get none of those guys. I think McCaffrey went first in the draft too, didn't he?
I feel like he went third.
He went first or third. No, I think third. Tyreek was picked third because I think McCaffrey went first, and then obviously McCaffrey hasn't played this year.
I say that because Mr. You got him, and he wasn't the first pick. I almost feel like Derrick Henry was the first pick, so he was definitely off the board, like third, something like that. But watch, I'll give you a long question, and then I'll go try to figure that out. So
gotcha.
Where you said that? Yep, you said that. How's y'all's night? Yep. Space and loss. Yeah, that's that. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, I said 10-2, and if we had lost to Georgia, beat Vanderbilt, and let's say we lose one to Tennessee or LSU on the road, and we finish that season, the results are still the same, But it's the way we did it. You can't, even if you had lost to Vanderbilt and then beat Georgia, you'd be at a different point, But it's like coming off the Georgia game, all the expectations went through the roof, and then losing that game, it just hurt. So, and the biggest thing I hate, man, I don't know if you guys are like this, Trey. I'll ask you how you handle losses. My biggest problem, especially with Alabama and everybody rooting against us, is I can't enjoy social media for this. So I haven't watched. I didn't watch Funny Man's How Bama Fans Watched week 5 or whatever, 6, whatever. I didn't watch
Shorts.
SEC Roll Call. I didn't watch SEC Shorts this week. Mr. Gio40 put out his little thing too. I haven't watched anything. I'm just not enjoying the stuff that I usually enjoy. It's all about us losing. So. How do you handle your losses, Trey? It's got to be better than me.
I mean, I'll respond to people if they text, but what I can't stand, especially what happened with some like the Michigan fans, there'll be people who I haven't heard from in months, and they'll just come out the blue and say, "Yeah, we beat you." I'm like, bro, where were you at the rest of the season? I haven't talked to you in a year, though. If you, like John, for example, he's a Michigan fan, so if me and him go back and forth, I don't mind because we're always conversing, so
right.
Don't come out the blue with it. But other than that,
thank you.
I go pretty I guess I'll respond, but I go pretty dark, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
So we lost to Michigan. I think I didn't even watch the Iron Bowl, I don't think, until maybe the fourth quarter because I was just licking wounds. So I'll skip the rest of because the thing is they'll go to halftime. Let's say it's halftime of this, but earlier today in the game, and it's I don't want to see this. You can't avoid it. So I just all right, I guess let's go watch some movies and not talk. That's kind of how that goes.
Yeah, that's an excellent point because all the games for the rest of the night, it's skip the halftime, the halftime.
That's the only good thing about losing a night game because at least you can just go to bed. If you lose at 12, the entire rest of the day,
you got to think about that all day, and it's hard to stay on social media when you lose and it's 2:00. You're like, oh Lord, what am I supposed to do? I got to post something, but the minute you go on Twitter, everybody just roasting you.
Mm-hmm. Mike did say he did get Tyreek first. Yeah, I knew. I
remember. Okay.
Tyreek might as well be injured though. So unless he's, I'm sorry. So you're feeling that pain.
I know the pain there. I have.
Oh, by the way, Charmaine, if you're 4-1, that means you're good at this. We can't count you in next year. We don't need to get more people beating us up. We lose. We lose enough as it is. But no, we'll send you the invite next year for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at my my roster. Probably tomorrow, not tonight. I'm gonna go to bed a little after this, but I'm gonna take a look at my roster, Trey. I'm gonna get the ball rolling here. I'm gonna win a game or two.
You still got time. You got time.
He's playing the real life Dolphins right now.
If the Jacksonville Jaguars,
wow. Say it again, Trey.
I said the Jacksonville Jaguars can find a way to win. You can too.
They got their first win. Kudos to them.
They finally got theirs. You'll get it right.
So. Yeah, he won't spoil. Good, Brian. Everybody has to tune in to the pick show to see what the pick is. We're filming that tomorrow night, so we'll release it on Thursday or Friday. So I bet it was, Kat. I always enjoy those. Maybe I'll bring myself to watch them. If we beat South Carolina, I'll watch them all from the past week. But man, it hurts. So it hurts.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched SEC Shorts. It was actually pretty funny. I had to watch it. I watched Funny Man. I didn't I didn't watch Roll Call yet. I like the other ones a little better, but Roll Call is pretty good. Matt does a good job with those too. So I'm gonna catch it at some point.
I've got so much work done here. So we actually call it Husky droppings now.
Husky droppings, yeah.
Yes, it's been a new phrase. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem. You can't get them off of social media anymore, and they start believing their own hype, especially if you've got, I don't know if you've heard, a 17-year-old is one. Although, I mean, he still made his play. So I can't really say that, especially as wide receivers, you only get so many plays allotted to you. So he made the plays that he was supposed to. Well, I don't know. He dropped an easy first down, turning the run.
That was unlike him, but.
Yeah. That's why you'd rather beat Alabama and lose to Vandy. Yeah, it's weird. And then like which order you beat them in matters too, and how people assume with everything. So expectations just got way too reset before the Georgia game and after the Georgia game. So
no, that's true. Because if y'all lost to Vandy the week before and then the week after y'all beat Georgia, then basically all is forgiven because you did the reverse. Now it's like London Bridge is falling basically at that point.
Yes, and that's the real problem. So, we didn't even mention the Jags because it's okay.
Come on.
All he said was, though, in his defense, all he said was they finally won a game, and they did.
We're not the only ones talking about the Jags. So I think everybody's talking.
Brian, you still have the fans of London, so that's the good news. They're nice to over there.
I wonder who the Jags play next. I don't have their schedule, but
I think they're actually a London game again.
Ball game with the officials. Yep. I don't know. Like I said, they came out and popped. And I saw people in the middle of the game talking about the fish. I don't think that's what he's talking about there. But I was like, no, the reason why we thought like they wanted it more than us. There is no other anything else going. Defense did adjust. That's why we lost that game. That has nothing to do with anything else. So he said they played the Bears.
Super Bowl. They have to, as players and the coaches set that tone. When you are in Alabama, you're in Ohio State, you're in Texas. You're at Georgia, you're one of those type of programs. You are the Super Bowl every week. This is their championship.
Yep.
If you're Vandy, that's where you go out and shine. Like I remember years ago, Ohio State's playing Buffalo week 1. I know it's like, it's just Buffalo. And I remember literally watching. I'm like, who is this linebacker? He's going crazy. And then you said Khalil Mack in the backfield. I'm like, I don't know who that dude is, but this dude is clearly taking a point to like own us. And that game alone did help platform him to become a top 5 pick. So if you're one of those Vandy guys, that's their time to shine. And as Bama, as the players or any of the other big programs, you got to know they're gonna throw their haymaker when they get a shot at you like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You get that X on your back, man. It's tough. I mean, it's already tough to go play on the road anyway. So. Yep. We actually did talk about this. I think the thing about this question is, I 1000% agree. I wish everybody would just let them play because they're both gonna be great. But it's going to be a regional answer. Everybody in Alabama is going to say Hollywood. Everybody up north, especially except for Michigan fans. Michigans might say, both of them. But, people in the Big Ten are going to say Smith. And there's no right or wrong answer. I think either.
Listen, there is a right or wrong answer. Hollywood has the age. Jeremiah Smith is old, man. This kid's like 18, man. Hollywood.
How dare you? He's older than a pack of cigarettes. I just can't believe this.
I would, like I said though, on the Cinco Squad show, that I would love to see them have a nice little matchup for the national championship. That would be a hell of a game.
Oh, it's still on the board. That's the thing with the 12-team playoff. The season's nowhere near over.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because most Bama fans seem to think it is. They think that we're going to fold up the program and just move on.
Right.
I'm moving out of Tuscaloosa. Wow.
It wouldn't have been over even if it was a 4-game playoff. But I mean. It's going to take a lot for Alabama not to make it a 12-team playoff. That's almost a fireable offense. If you're at some of these big programs, like in Alabama or in Ohio State, and you don't make the 12-team playoff, you may get fired. Like that's an issue.
I agree. But it's still all on the table. And that's why I've never seen, I can't say never seen, but it's weird for a fan base to be like, I mean, if you win the rest of your games, you're good. If you lose one more and it's not terrible, you're still good. Like there's so much opportunity still left, and half of them are just ready to jump ship and move on. So I don't know. If you thought he was the guy at the beginning of the year, you can't all of a sudden think he's trash like now.
Right.
So we vented a lot. Raj, do you have any last vents that you want to talk about with Alabama? I know we did.
No. As I mentioned earlier, I think the best thing we can do right now is have a good hard week at practice, rebound, and have a really, really strong showing against South Carolina. We're not looking to the Tennessee game. We need to look at the game that's in front of us. put a good product on the field offensively and defensively, and kind of restore some hope into some of the Bama fans who lost some over the past week. But I'm feeling good about Saturday. South Carolina's coming off a tough loss to Ole Miss where they got mollywopped. I'm hoping we mollywop them this Saturday. And then obviously we have Tennessee next week. So we'll be all right. Alabama will be all right.
I remember looking for a reason to pick South Carolina in that game, and I was like, I can't do it. We're going with Ole Miss. So.
One other thing I was thinking that we all knew that obviously DeBoer was going to lose the game eventually. So it's not good that we lost, but I hope he's coping with the loss and the Bama criticism as good as he possibly can right now, because it was going to happen eventually. So it's like, let's just go ahead and get it out the way and then move on.
So for this question, for you to be 10-3, I'm assuming that means you went 10-2, but still somehow made your championship game and lost. I don't think a 10-2 team is going to make the championship team in at least the Big Ten or the SEC. So you're probably talking the Big 12 team, right? Which I would say no, or an ACC team, I would say no. But I don't think an SEC team is going to get to the SEC championship 10-2. I mean, I might be wrong. I mean, if there's a big glut, or if there's a log jam, as Raj likes to say, of teams at 10-2 and one makes it, and then they lose, I say no, because you're 10-3, and I know it's an SEC championship game, but then there's a whole bunch of 10-2 teams still ahead of you.
I don't think a 3-loss team gets in. I think there's going to be a lot of 2-loss teams in there and some 1-losses, of course, and maybe a few undefeateds. But I don't see a 10-3 team.
I think a 3-loss team I think there will be a 3-loss team. I think they'll sneak in at 12. Somebody. With 12 teams, it just leaves so much room for that margin for somebody to get in that way.
It'll be interesting to see. It's just going to come down to the circumstances and the strength of schedule and all that too. So I don't see it, but it's going to be
especially looking at how last week went with a lot of big powers already losing and a lot of teams still have to play each other. So some of these teams, I mean, you got to figure. Like Oklahoma still has to play Texas. Oklahoma still has to play Alabama. Like you got a lot of these situations where I do think somebody, I think in the SEC or Big Ten, somebody could slide in with 3 losses and be like a 12 seed or 11 seed.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking with the number.
But not
if you're 10-3.
Yeah. I would say 9-3. I would say I think somebody can slide in.
Yeah, because then 10-3, you've made the championship game and you already had 2. So I don't know. So yeah. And everybody likes you until you lose. I mean, that's
what I said. The first 4 games, everybody was fine with DeBoer. They loved the offense, defense, blah blah blah. But then you lose. Oh, I don't like the way he dresses, or the way he conducts himself.
That was my favorite. I didn't like the way he dressed. So
that was so weird.
Yeah. And then it just depends on who those are. Like I said, the only reason why I say with 10-3 is it means your last loss was in the championship game. So maybe. But then you're up against like some 10-2 teams that didn't even have to. So sometimes the championship game could end up being a detriment to you. So that'll be how it ends up.
Yeah.
Raj, because you mentioned it, you mentioned the other big games. I guess Tennessee being the other big one, losing to Arkansas. It's not even just the loss to Arkansas. The fact they only scored 14 points. That's what jumped out to me. Is that what y'all saw too? Or
I feel. Oh, go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
No, that's the alarming part because Tennessee was supposed to be. Especially with, I'm blanking on the name of the quarterback,
Nico.
Nico.
Yeah, the one they spent all that money on. They for them to only go out here and put up 14 points, you look at it and you say, okay, what the heck is going on here? Because that was supposed to be their bread and butter. So I thought that was a little bit alarming because if Arkansas does that, you got a lot better defense when you have to go to like Alabama or some of the rest of their schedule. So it's like, okay, something needs to click. And maybe it's because he's a freshman and they're doing a lot of, maneuvering there, but I would be worried if I was a Tennessee fan. And that's
I think we're just starting to learn more and more about their offense over the past few weeks. I mean, was it 2 weeks ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago they played? They beat Oklahoma like 25-15. Only put up 25 in Oklahoma. Then I'm assuming they had a bye after that, and then now this past weekend they only put up 14-15. So we're taking a look at their offense, and obviously the first 3 or 4 games they were putting up 100 points a game because they weren't playing anybody. But now we're starting to realize once they get into conference play that the offense may not be as sharp as we thought. Makes me feel a little better, but even though our game is in Knoxville, so that is going to be a road SEC game, so it's still going to be tough regardless.
Is that a night game?
No, it's 2:30.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'll never ever understand it, and not like it happens all the time, but when I say I'll never understand it, but I never understand. Like at least just throw the ball way up in the air and give somebody a shot at something.
Yeah,
it's better than just drifting on out of bounds. So it's It is crazy. And if you honestly look at his numbers against some of the better defenses, he hasn't had great numbers. Like I know they blew out NC State, but his numbers weren't great against NC State.
Right.
Oklahoma, had they made a quarterback change earlier, maybe that game's different. I just think their defense was on the field.
I agree with that. I think if Hawkins had came in a little earlier and replaced Jackson Arnold, even if Hawkins started, I think Oklahoma probably would have won that game. Because if you watch that game, Arnold was just off on offense, and Brian can chime in. He was inaccurate. He was missing plays. He wasn't. The offense just wasn't in sync until the backup QB came in.
Yeah, coach. It's it. Now our defense hasn't been playing great, so I don't know if we're a great defense. But beginning of the season, I picked them. They're not going to beat Georgia, and I still don't think they're going to beat Georgia.
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So, did I need to remind you that Raj picked Tennessee to beat Georgia like 2 years ago, and before the season, that was his bold thing. By the time we got to the game, he was like, "Yeah, that pick was terrible. It's not going to happen." So, and yeah. I just think your defense ended up getting worn out, and Tennessee got a play here or there. But Oklahoma with an offense in that game, I think, wins the game. So, yeah. But for y'all's, like I said, Georgia's beating them. So I think
Georgia's got that game.
Handle Tennessee. Like I said, Roger regretted that one easily. So, was there any other Trey? Any other games that you kind of get to watch, or were you kind of just focused with Ohio State this past weekend? And then Michigan lost also. I don't know if you're even thinking about them though until the end.
We're not really worried about, we're not worried about that team with folks. The Connor Stallions, he's not there anymore. And if we moved on to bigger and better things, Connor Stallions, by the way, if y'all didn't know, he's actually coaching. The high school he's coaching up in Detroit is Mumford, which is also the school Axel Foley went to in Beverly Hills Cop.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, he's running a Mumford High, starting Beverly Hills Cop 1. So yeah, that's
is he the head coach or?
I don't know if he's the head coach or not, but I know they got beat down badly. One of my friends is a teacher up in Detroit public schools, and he was telling me like that team's actually pretty bad.
I'm just thinking about
defensive coordinator and acting head coach. Okay.
I'm just thinking about how the application process and who approved that, who was reading this and hey, you won't believe who's applying for the job here. Yeah, we got to bring him in.
Yeah. But if your team is bad, hey, why not? So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it'll get some notoriety. So
yeah. Sure. Coach, we're covering that game on our pick show, so you'll see our pick. So we'll see it.
One of the other games that surprised me over the weekend was the Cal-Miami game. When I went to bed, I swore Cal was up by 25 points.
Or something 35-17, something going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I went to bed, and then I woke up and Mike had texted us at after 1 or something about that, and I was like, how did that even happen? And I never watched the second half. I didn't watch any of it, but I heard about the calls that were made towards the end, and it was very unfortunate for Cal. But Cal should have won the game regardless of the calls.
Yeah, I didn't stay up. I had a little bit too much water during the day and during the Alabama game, so yeah, I couldn't make it to the end of that one. Sorry. So, all right, so we do want to kind of move into this next week and clearly give you some time to talk about yours. But I will always forget this. So for the Alabama part of it, we got to give Big Mike his say real quick on who we're playing next.
What's up, everybody? It's Big Mike back again with this week's edition of Bama Opponents Fun Fact. This week's opponent, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. In the late 2000s, the University of South Carolina added Sandstorm to its playlist of music at Williams-Brice Stadium. The track was first played at a 2008 football game against LSU and received such a good fan reaction that it was decided to use in future games. The moment it would become a phenomenon, however, would come in the last 2 minutes of a 2009 game against Ole Miss when Sandstorm played before back-to-back Gamecock defensive plays that resulted in a big upset win. Since that game, it's become a rallying anthem for South Carolina fans at almost all sporting events. And that's this week's Bama Opponent Fun Fact. Roll Tide, everybody.
It's become the favorite part when I actually remember. This week in time, I'm just getting old. I just always forget to play it. So, Trey, you really feel bad for South Carolina? Do you feel bad for whoever the next opponent is, or is it specifically South Carolina coming into this one?
No, it was the next opponent, unless it would have been like a Tennessee type program. But if it was like a lesser school coming in, then that's usually where you get stumped out at, because now it's like, okay, they're not going to come in sleep. So now you got to pay for the past week. I got to assume that the board is probably running them into the ground. There's been a lot of yelling, and and cussing and film sessions, and these guys are going to take it out on South Carolina. That's fully what I would expect.
I'm hoping they do.
Then, I would be very concerned of the streets of Tuscaloosa.
That's why I said if the score is something like 35-28, everybody's going to be scratching their heads like, hold on, man, we can't be going down this path. So we need to come out here, start off from the jump.
There's going to be some issues. It's going to be some issues.
Oh yeah.
In Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I don't even know if they'll allow it. They may, I don't know, the offensive coordinator may be our head coach by the time y'all get to the Tennessee game.
Might be, or nobody. So, and going back, I didn't make it to 3M, like I said. So I wish I would have, though. That's usually the type of game I stay up for. So Mike said game day decided to take it. We're sorry, Mike, but you're a legend, so I don't blame it. So every offense bothers me. Mobile quarterbacks definitely bother me. I just feel like if we come out and punch them with our offense, I think we can outlast them. I think we can stay ahead of them there. But does a mobile quarterback? Yeah. But does a non-mobile quarterback at this point bother me? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I feel the same way going into any game, to be honest with you. So I'm just gonna be confident in our abilities, but a mobile quarterback is always a threat. But I think we should have no choice but to be prepared for this game. And I think this is the type of game that will also prepare us for Oklahoma's offense as well, because Oklahoma has a similar type of offense with their quarterback. So I'm looking forward to this Saturday and going forward.
Yeah. It's like Trey said, if you come out and you're not prepared for this game, that's it. Everybody's getting fired. So
exactly.
Might as well move on from that one. Yep. So, but definitely wanted to give you some time to talk about your big game. And I will be at the game. So that's another thing. If I get to this game and we lose like that, I'm gonna have to go down to the field. Like we got to handle something there. So
I was gonna say when I see the security guard,
Randy tried to. Yeah, if we're losing, they gonna let me on the field.
Maybe a race. Y'all start losing.
Yeah, you think the security guard is gonna block anybody if the game gets that bad? Nah, they gonna be like, there you go. So Kat, it's all on my shoulders.
Oh yeah.
So she's like, yep, she loves it. Coach, I don't know. I mean, they brought in a new scheme and it hasn't seemed to be working. I think sometimes you mask your stats against like bad teams,
Yeah.
And that's what happens at the beginning of the year. So people think it's some stuff is better than it is. So, all right, Trey, initial thoughts going into this game with Oregon. It's the game that we all were looking forward to. You guys didn't have a blemish coming into it, neither did they. They, I think, started a little slower than y'all. But what's kind of thoughts going into this one?
For me, I think the team's fully prepared. I mean, they, for the most part, knock on wood, team has been healthy, which is a big thing. We haven't really been nicked up. The offensive line is starting to finally get all together. We had a couple guys out early in the year, but I think they'll be prepared. I think that Ryan Day knows, as I said, this is a championship or bust season. Most of these guys came back. I don't think they came back and passed up on that NFL money to go out here and lose to Oregon. I mean, it's no offense to Oregon. There's no offense to the rest of the schedule, but I just don't. When you bring back 8 starters and 6 or 7 of them could have been drafted, it's the reason they came back. So I fully expect that this game was circled. This is one of those scenarios where I think they were already practicing for some of the Oregon stuff before we got here. I think there's certain wrinkles that are already being held back. So, like, even in the offseason, I heard there were points they would put in Junkins and Henderson in the backfield together. They really haven't ran that. But I think that's going to happen in this game where they were actually running Henderson and Junkins basically in one of those old school Navy style things. Howard and him. And they did it one time. I believe it was the Akron game. Howard goes under center. You had 2 of them back there, and they didn't know which way the ball was going to go. And I was like, okay, foul out of the way. That's going to come out in one of these big games. I think it's some wrinkles that have been waiting there. Also, on the Oregon side, I will say there has been a couple of the games Oregon's offense hasn't looked as impressive as people would have thought when Dylan Gabriel got there. They're still seem to be figuring it out, and this is easily the best defense Oregon would have played so far.
Yep.
I agree. I think Oregon's offense is, as far as points per game, I don't know what they compared to last year when they had Bo Nix, but they just don't look as sharp as they do. They look like they've gotten off to a lot of slow starts as well, and I feel like Ohio State's pretty much the opposite. They're I think I want to say Ohio State's ranked as probably one of the best offenses and defenses in the nation right now. Just look at the numbers. So I don't know. I know Ohio State's only favored by 3, and I don't know if we're supposed to be giving out predictions right now, but I am leaning towards Ohio State to win this game.
Yeah, 9th on offense, which surprised me. I did think it was a little higher. 1st on defense, so 3rd against the run, 4th against the pass. So 14th rushing offense, 23rd passing offense. So, what did you say? When there's a question for you, concerns about going on the road for Ohio State?
It's always gonna be tough on the road. I mean, I will say Eugene's not an easy place to go to, but I feel because, and that's why I point out having a lot of those veterans there. When you bring back that many players together, I feel like you move better as a unit. Even for Howard's sake, Howard, I'm not gonna say he's the greatest quarterback ever by no means, or say anything like that. But as an experienced guy, it's not like we're throwing some freshman out here and saying, "Oh, hey, go figure it out. You never played in a tough road game." Same for your backs. I mean, Judkins already played in the SEC. He's been on the road plenty of times. Henderson, these guys have been in playoff games. Most of that defense, they've been in playoff games. Even Coach Day to an extent. I mean, Coach Day, for all we give him about the Michigan, Coach Day has played. He's been in the playoffs before. So I don't think the road. I don't think it would. I don't think it'll phase in the way it could if this was a younger squad. I guess I'll put it that way.
Yep, I agree. Let's see. What else did you have? Rome is laughing, afraid to salivate to see the outcome. I think Michigan's done anyway. Penn State only has to play Ohio State, so they're probably just kind of sitting back. You know, if Ohio State beats them and they don't play Oregon, so I don't know how the tiebreakers work. So I just also don't think very highly of Penn State. So either I think they've been kind of waiting for this. I think they make the playoff just because they slip by without having to play a lot of the big guys.
Yeah, I think Strong got a lot more to worry about than looking ahead 6 weeks. He got a lot more on his plate before we get to that point of the season. Penn State, I agree. I'm not really high on them, but they don't play anybody.
Right.
But I still wouldn't be shocked if Penn State dropped something somewhere else along the way. I don't care. I mean, I was just saying this on Twitter and we were talking about I just don't see it with Drew Aller the way people say that. It's not shade. Drew Aller from like 20 minutes from where I live, and all the people that see talk about Drew Aller like he's a god down there. But I don't see it.
Right. And that's my problem. But I mean, you see, they go to USC this weekend. I think they can handle that one. Go to Wisconsin and handle that one. I think they lose to Ohio State, but then it's Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. Like, somebody else is going to have to jump up and get them. Yeah. But other than that, I think they're going to be fine. So interested to see if Landy's going to come with the blitz packages this weekend.
I would expect him to blitz. Yeah, I definitely expect that. Because I think at the end of the day, you need to get Will Howard off his game quickly and try to see if you can finally get him to panic. So far, Ohio State hasn't been in a position to have to panic, and this will be the best defense they would have played. So if he doesn't blitz, I'll be shocked because now you just let him sit back there and pick apart. There's too many weapons with Smith and Ibuka and all these other guys that you can just pick apart. So he better blitz. If you don't, it's going to be a long day. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And Coach, I think we said it in our preview show.
The same way,
they're going to make the playoff, I think, like I said, because of weak schedule. And they've always just been hey, if it wasn't for Michigan, Ohio State, okay, but that's fine. But you can't just discount those teams. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can't say, hey, we're the third best team in the Big Ten every year. That's like not some great accomplishment to me. You need to jump up and beat one of those guys. And to me, they were just the ones that could never be one of those guys. I think what they wanted 1 year, but somehow they lost another other games where they couldn't even get to the playoff. I think Ohio State still made it to the playoff over Penn State, even when they managed to win half the division or whatever. So that's what I've always thought about Penn State. So there you go. How do you feel Howard is and Randy, I saw your question. I'm gonna answer that one at the end about how I handle live games. Do you feel Howard is an upgrade?
Absolutely, yes. Kyle McCord saw a ghost back there. As simple as that. I think Kyle McCord, at the end of the day, and this isn't trying to knock Kyle, but Kyle was always a Syracuse level quarterback. So I'm not surprised that Kyle's doing good at Syracuse because of a different level of pressure. He was never really built for that Ohio State pressure. The thing with Kyle is you got to remember Kyle was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s best friend. They went to high school together. So essentially it was a package deal. Harrison leaves. Now they weren't pressed to keep him there at that point. So it is a big upgrade. The other thing too is Howard is also mobile back there when you need to. When the core was sitting duck, our line wasn't great. That's part of what killed in the Michigan game. They beat us down on the line, and when plays broke down, it was just over. There's been a few plays where Howard's been able to extend. Now, I will say I'm worried at times because I'll see him try to do too much, and that's where I get more concerned now that we're starting to get to the Big Ten plays. Will he try to extend and end up throwing an interception because he didn't just kill the play and say, all right, let's let it play another down? But definitely big upgrade, though.
And I feel like we're kind of dumping on Penn State, but I also feel like I started it, so I can't really say anything. But I 1,000% agree. I think they'll get out there, they'll get into a playoff game. Maybe they win the first one if they're higher seed, but no, once it gets into tougher play, I think Penn State's out. Problem for them is
Michigan throw the ball against them like 5 times last year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take you seriously.
Like I want to say the whole second half they didn't throw it. And that's
I'm not going to take you seriously when people are here playing 1920 Navy versus Army ball and getting away with it versus I can't take you seriously as an outfit.
No, I agree. But the problem is it'll look like progress. Hey, we made the playoffs. Maybe we won this, first round game, whatever. Now things are looking up. No, they're not. They're, they expanded the reach. You know what I mean?
They're technically still a number 8, 10, or 11 team. It's just because the playoff rules have expanded. Now you're actually a playoff team, which will probably keep James Franklin there and they'll extend his contract, which is fine.
Yeah. I don't think.
And yes, Kyle McCord was a mannequin in the pocket. I definitely just saw that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kyle McCord looked like he was auditioning to be the mannequin at Macy's or something.
Nice. Does that pay better than what he was getting? That can't pay better than what he was getting paid, though, right?
No, it probably does. Yeah, it probably does. We were paying Harris. We weren't paying him.
after Will Howard, who is the certified second string, if anything.
Okay, so there's some debate. Technically, Devin Brown, who was in the battle with him, but some people think if something actually happens, that it actually be Julian Sane, who was with your Tide ended up leaving after Saban. Some people think that he would insert. So they've been putting in Brown when it's been blowout. The Sanes also came in too, and there are rumors that he's actually takes just as many snaps at practice. So who knows? Hopefully we won't have to get that scenario. But I don't trust Brown. So I would probably Brown's a running back there. He instantly, if he doesn't see the read, he's ready to run. And he's somewhat athletic, but not athletic enough.
Coach English, That was crazy. That was crazy. For a team to even adopt that strategy against you, that's embarrassing. And it's not like it was 30 runs in a row and they blew them out. It was 30 runs, 3 runs and punt, 3 runs and punt, maybe 6 runs. Maybe we have a drive, maybe we don't. That's what they did for the whole second half. It wasn't like, like you were playing the Cowboys and you had 30 runs and you're scoring 3 touchdowns. Like, no, it was embarrassing football. So I got to get back to this one real quick because everybody knows my thing. When the game gets bad, the clothes get changed. This is the only thing I don't like about going to live games is whatever outfit I wear in is the outfit. So, I mean, at that point, all I can do is yell and cheer, and the players got to play.
You can wear an outfit on top of your outfit.
Yeah, I'll say short under.
Not in Alabama weather.
I got Trey. Trey, how do you feel about this? Herb, what you're wearing right now?
This is a terrible idea.
What you're wearing right now is what you need to wear to the game.
I'll look like a Vandy fan who wandered into an Alabama.
You're wearing an Alabama hat. You can wear Alabama. Bring your title towel. Bring your shoes. Whatever. Just wear that outfit.
Suspenders.
Oh, see, now you didn't have to do that. Oh my gosh.
We get some Alabama suspenders.
Yeah. Randy, where is Joe at when we need him?
What was Joe dressed up? Was it a popcorn?
Yes.
Yeah,
a popcorn outfit.
We did it when doing our Alabama Georgia preview show. Randy's brother was dressed up as popcorn. So I don't even know how he just happened to have this outfit.
It was a popcorn outfit. Yeah, it was like
he had a little hat on and everything.
I knew this was gonna come in handy one day. Let me go ahead and put it.
All right, now I got to go to Amazon and order me some Alabama overalls. So. All right, Trey. Final word on the game. You've already picked to be undefeated. How does the game play out?
34-24 is what I expect.
Really?
I'm not putting this down to the last possession. I think at the end they'll basically run it down their throat and basically start to kill the clock in the fourth quarter and get a late touchdown to extend out to 34-24. I expect some fireworks early, then I kind of expect it to slow down as the game actually goes. So, that's where my prediction is going for this. Yeah. I think ultimately our defense, is going to load that box, stop Jordan James, and I think they're going to make Dylan Gabriel try to go beat them, and I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah. I was one of those that thought the Dylan Gabriel pickup was good, and then it's like he's trying to prove me wrong like every week. So I was not as impressed.
I was still surprised he left Oklahoma, but I had a meeting in Dallas yesterday. And I was talking to a guy who's pretty familiar with the Sooners program. He basically told me that when Dylan Gabriel mentioned to Venables that he wants to come back to OU last year, Venables basically told him like it's going to be an open competition. Yeah, because I think at that point OU didn't want to lose Jackson Arnold, and that was his polite way of telling Dylan Gabriel, listen, you can come back, but it's not guaranteed that you get the starting position. And I guess that's what made Gabriel say, okay, well, let me go ahead and get out of here. I know Bo Nix is gone, so let me go to Oregon. And obviously we see what happened with OU and Jackson Arnold. He's not starting anymore. That didn't quite pan out. And again, this is just what I heard. I don't know if this is 100% true, but
no, I think you're right.
That's to the transfer portal sometimes because you get something like that. It's like, well, believe in yourself, maybe stay, and he probably would be starting based on what
he'd be starting.
Yeah, what we've seen transpire in Oklahoma, but instead he gave up on his own stuff and just decided to transfer instead of trying to compete for that spot.
Yep. All right. For Raj and I's pick on the game, you got to tune into our like I said, it'll release either Thursday or Friday. We'll film it tomorrow. We'll get our picks on that. We'll also talk about Alabama, South Carolina, but it's kind of like Trey said. I expect a measured response from Alabama. I expect them to come out the gates. I expect the crowd to get behind them, and I expect a big win. You need some momentum going into Tennessee, but we'll talk more about those. Trey, we appreciate that breakdown on the game. Are you ready for some of your favorite questions here at the end?
Oh yeah, let's see what y'all got this time.
Okay.
Last time.
All right. All right. So we're gonna go with work, play, live, ditch. All right. Got 4 players for you: Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jeremiah Smith.
Okay, so you said it was work, play,
live, ditch. So who do you want to work with? Who do you want to live next door to? Who do you want to go out with on Friday nights? And whose call do you let go to voicemail? And you just have to get back to them another time.
And you said Jeremiah, Olave, Harrison,
and Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
I was going to put Jackson Smith, but I was like, I'm going to mess up his last name, so let me find another one. I even had a little pronunciation thing up here.
Because they can't pronounce it JSC.
Yeah.
I would say play Garrett Wilson. He seems like a fun guy. He always seemed like a fun guy when he was there. He kind of was flashy. So I would probably say play, work. I would say Jeremiah Smith because and from all accounts, everybody says his work ethic is crazy in the locker room. Like they say, that's partly why he's been able to step on immediately, been able to just ball out the way he has. Like a lot of the seniors, like Denzel Burke and some of these guys who were supposed to go to draft, they were saying like he truthfully was giving them business in the offseason because the guy just works that type of hard. Anyone else have ditch and live?
Live, yep.
So I have Olave and Harrison.
Yes.
I would say live Harrison. I feel like he seems like a guy who just I wouldn't even see, which is sometimes fine. Like the roommate you never even see, he's like the rent's just there, and I like, oh, is Marvin here? I don't know. I haven't seen that guy in 3 months, but the rent's paid 4 months in advance. So I think I just would go with that. And Olave, I love Olave, so it's not any shame, but I guess by default he just gets ditched.
Herb, that's I like those. Herb, that reminds me. Just a quick story. My freshman year of college at Bama, Herb and I were actually dorm mates because he was a senior. And do you remember we had one roommate we just never saw? I don't even remember the guy's name. Never saw him. I think one day I actually walked right by him on campus. We didn't even speak to each other because I don't even think he knew it was his roommate. Just never saw the guy.
That's familiar.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but yep. All right, go ahead, Raj.
All right, I got a question for you. So, obviously, we talked about the big game in Eugene this weekend. Excuse me. If you could bring back, I'll say 3 former Ohio State players specifically for this game this weekend, who would those 3 players be? They could be any 3, any positions.
I would bring back.
And Cat's mad about that. The fantasy owners are mad, and the regular team's mad too. So yeah, one target. That's makes no sense.
People online.
Yeah.
Fantasy owners mad about that. Olave one target. So if I could bring back 3, I would bring back Chase Young, Nick Bosa to get the pass rush going crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
definitely put some pressure on Gabriel. Yeah.
And I would bring back Stroud. Stroud, unfortunately, lost to Oregon in the Horseshoe.
Right.
In one of his very first starts. And it would be like his revenge tour. So I think get Stroud to go back and get revenge.
That would be a huge upgrade at quarterback position too. Yeah.
And upgrading the quarterback position as well. So
that's a good pick. So you get an upgrade in the QB position, and then the pressure on Gabriel is just going to tear him up all night. Yeah, so
crazy.
Okay, I see that. I can see that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Stephen A. Smith comes to you, and he's starting up your new podcast, your new show. Okay. But he's giving you these choices of co-hosts. Somebody's got to go on the show with you. Okay. So it'll be the Trey and whoever show. Okay. So out of this list, you got to pick one co-host. All right.
I think I see where this is going.
Herb and Raj. Or Raj, excuse me.
Be smart about this, Trey.
And I only can bring one co-host.
Yep. One co-host.
Be smart, Trey.
No. What type of sports show are we doing here? Just all sports? Or
college football. Actually, I mean, you know what? You're the lead of the show. So it's your show.
You can curate it however you want to.
I'm trying to remember. I'm flashing back to NBA. One of y'all are a Lakers fan. Who's a Lakers fan?
I don't remember.
What does that mean?
He's a Lakers fan also, Raj.
I'm a LeBron fan.
If you cared about him, Raj, you would know that.
I'm a LeBron fan.
See, that means I got to bring Raj because at least we can disagree on football. At least agree at some point during basketball season. So I guess I got to bring Raj there.
Would you really want a co-host on your show that dresses like that with some overalls and a nerdy by nature?
Hey! I'm snappy, baby.
If we see on championship, I'm gonna send you some Ohio State overalls too, just in case.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, if y'all win, or especially if y'all beat us, whatever you send, I'll have to wear on the show, man. It's part of the punishment. So
I have an Ohio State. Ohio State bow tie. I wear it to work usually. When I don't work Saturdays anymore, but I used to work Saturdays sometimes. I used to wear a sweater vest and Ohio State bow tie for years on Saturday.
Gotcha.
I like it. Lay off, I'm with you. I wouldn't mind both teams getting a win. And Coach, we appreciate you stopping by, man. So
appreciate you, Coach.
Yep. Trey, tell everybody where to find you, what you got going on next.
Of course, all of our socials, just like you see below, Cinco Squad Pod. I put 5. It's 05. I just realized. Cinco Squad Pod 05. Definitely lock in with us. We usually record Wednesdays, and our show usually drops Thursday, usually around midday. So definitely check us out. We cover basically all sports. So like this week, we're going to talk some baseball with baseball players. We're going to talk college football. We're going to talk NFL. We'll be back to the NBA soon. So yeah, definitely tap in, lock in with us at some point.
Awesome.
And if you are online, follow us, engage. We love to engage, and that's how we got cool with Herb and Rod, just talking, going back and forth about strategy, joking about other stuff. But it's fun for us. I mean, to be able to engage with other folks who just love to watch ball. To be honest.
Yeah. Some of the most interactive guys on Tuscaloosa, like you just said, man, perfectly said. Like that's how we started interacting with y'all, man, because y'all are awesome.
We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. So Herb and Rod podcast, like you said, we've got some more stuff coming up this week. Bama versus the World, the South Carolina edition, our college football picks, and then who knows, hopefully a happier live stream after the game this weekend, and plenty of stuff coming from the stadium. Trey, always appreciate you stopping by, man. You and any of the crew are always welcome.
More than welcome.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Man. They're some of the best guys out there for sure. So,
appreciate
Herb Raj podcast, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank y'all for the comments. The comments always make the show. We appreciate it. And until next week, everybody, roll tide. Trey,
roll tide.
Good luck in the big game this weekend, man.
Yeah.